When I first dove into the globalization of capitalism, I was not sure where my journey was going to take me. There were so many questions I had, from who are the major players in global capitalism, to where does the US stand in the globalization of capitalism. When doing my research, I stumbled on an article by Alan Weber, The Future of Capitalism. In this article, Weber talks about some of the new players, such as China, Brazil, and India, and have introduced new versions of capitalism that are totally different than the US model. Weber also touches on how the US model of capitalism is under pressure from global competitors, and how technological innovation has evolved. My goal is to give you a better understanding of the globalization of capitalism. And by doing this, I'd like to start first with the evolution of capitalism. Historians can trace capitalism back several centuries when Spain and Portugal ruled the ocean waves. Globalization of capitalism has not just started since the beginning of the internet, but has been evolving ever since the 15th century. There are three basic characteristics of capitalism. It is the system of the private ownership of property, such as home ownership or buying a condo. Economic activity is guided by price signals set in markets, such as the Wall Street or such as the Dow Jones Industrial. And finally, it expects and demands upon the motivation for action to be the quest for the almighty dollar or for profit. Every company in the United States is going for the almighty dollar. Now, globalization also has some negative aspects. The US does not have the power that it used to have because the US was gravely weakened in both economic strength and political authority because of the last financial meltdown in 2008, when the US markets were deregulated. The US is in great danger on a global stage because the US no longer has the money to bring in other countries' exports. And a majority of the US manufacturing jobs are overseas. GE has 228,000 employed with them. 53% of that is now foreign. And if you look at this map here, it also shows some big companies such as Coca-Cola, Apple, Nike, and GE. All these companies are now overseas. So why has capitalism prevailed? Capitalist-driven economies have the ability to adapt quickly. When a capitalist-driven economy goes into recession, the decentralized nature of capitalism allows for it to adapt quickly, changing in demand and consumption. We were able to do this back in 2008 when we were going through the recession. We funded money into the economy, and we were also able to lower interest rates so we could adjust mortgages so we wouldn't go into a complete meltdown. Individuals with a strong work ethic, ability, innovative ideas, and a drive to succeed can achieve success in a capitalist economy. This touches on the core belief in the US. One company also comes into my mind is Nike. Nike started in the back of a van down by the river. And Phil Knight developed it and kept on pushing hard and was driven and driven and driven, and finally now it's a global brand. But it all started in the back of a van. Now, the direction of capitalism in the US. It's hard to figure out what direction the US is heading because Republicans and Democrats do not appear capable of this discussion. As you can see here is a map of the Senate with Democrats, Republicans, and Independents. It's fairly equal, and the Independents kind of split it in half. So each side is always going back and forth, back and forth. Republicans believe that capitalism is survival of the fittest, and there's nothing in between. While Democrats like companies as long as they do not practice private enterprise. And as you can see and you hear, both parties can't meet on common ground. If either side gives an inch, they might seem weak, and neither side wants to be viewed as the weak side. On a weekly basis, when you turn into the news, you hear the Democrats don't want to pass this bill because it's a Republican bill, or the Republicans are trying to pass this bill, but the Democrats don't want that to pass. So they cannot meet on a common ground, and that's a big stalemate in the evolution of capitalism here in the US. We are brought up as little kids to work hard, and our dreams will come true. I do not think this will change, and I think that is why our way of capitalism will not change drastically in the near future. I would like to think that just like capitalism, the US will show the ability and flexibility to evolve, so we do not get passed by other emerging markets like China, Brazil, or India. Going through this journey, I have touched on a lot of different aspects of the globalization of capitalism, and it has brought some more questions to my head, but I hope I was able to answer some of your questions. Thank you.